Could the Bible contain a secret code that predicts the future? A code so precise it foresaw assassinations, terrorist attacks and world-changing events, sometimes years in advance. Hi folks, I'm Johnny and welcome to The Oddest. While many dismiss these claims as pure fiction, the shocking accuracy of some predictions has left even skeptics wondering, who placed this coded information in the Bible? Was it God himself? Or perhaps something else, an intelligence beyond our understanding? So, grab yourself a wee cup of tea and get comfy, because the truth behind the Bible code might just be stranger than you think. Over the years, numerous researchers have looked into these intriguing claims, and with ongoing speculation about a stone key code that could fully unlock the Bible code, well, this mystery is likely to persist for quite some time. If there is any validity to the idea that a hidden secret code and predictions are embedded within the Old Testament, it could have a profound effect on our understanding of history. The main concept behind the Bible code is that the text of the Bible, especially the Old Testament, contains secret messages that, when decoded, can unveil future events, historical insights, and even personal information. Those who support the Bible code theory believe that these hidden messages were intentionally placed there by a divine force. What makes this especially intriguing is that the Old Testament, which is around 2,000 to 3,000 years old, has stayed mostly unchanged throughout history. This preservation might not be a coincidence. It could have been a way to ensure that these hidden codes remain intact. It's an ideal worth thinking about. The Bible code gained more widespread attention after the assassination of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin on November 4th of 1995. His death shocked Israel and the world, leaving a lasting impact on the nation's history. Interestingly though, it was later revealed that in September of 1994, Rabin received a handwritten letter warning him about his upcoming assassination. The letter even mentioned the exact date and the name of the person who would kill him. Sadly, Rabin chose to ignore this warning, which turned out to be eerily accurate. On the night in question, Yigal Amir approached Rabin at the end of a peace rally in Tel Aviv and, without hesitation, fired 3 shots at point-blank range, fatally wounding the Prime Minister. Amir's motivation is believed to have been Rabin's efforts to broker a peace deal with the Palestinians. The letter, it turns out, was sent by an American investigative journalist called Michael Drosnin. We'll dive deeper into Drosnin and other predictions found in the Old Testament shortly. But before we get into all that, let's take a closer look at how these complex messages and predictions are actually discovered, assuming the Bible code, of course, is real.
The first experiment was a comprehensive experiment, encompassing a large body of words and expressions that have a connection, like names and nicknames of the great sages and rabbis of Israel, as listed in the encyclopedia along with their dates of birth and dates of death. We measured if indeed there was a tendency for such connections, and the result was that there were connections, and the possibility that this occurred by accident was very minimal.
To really grasp the concept of the Bible code, it's essential to understand the methods and decoding techniques used to uncover these hidden messages. Exploring this will give us a better idea of how this mysterious phenomenon works and why it continues to fascinate so many people today. A major technique used to decode the Bible code is known as the equidistant letter sequence, or ELS. This involves picking letters at constant intervals throughout the text to create words or phrases that might hold some meaning. Supporters of the Bible code argue that these significant ELS combinations can uncover important information embedded in this sacred text. But to understand how this mysterious code was first discovered, we need to go back in time to a 13th century rabbi who made an impossible prediction about the moon. One of the earliest known individuals to utilise this technique was Bashia ben Asher, a 13th century rabbi, philosopher and biblical commentator. He reportedly uncovered details about the moon, its formation, cycle and exact length of 29.53 days, using this ELS method. Rabbi Bashia is said to have found this information by highlighting 4 letters, skipping 42 letters and then highlighting another 4, repeating this pattern as he went. Interestingly, the precise lunar cycle of 29.53 days wasn't definitively established until 1996, thanks to meticulous astronomical observations and calculations. Given this context then, it seems highly improbable that Rabbi Bashia discovered this information purely by chance. As the 20th century progressed, some researchers and religious scholars revisited Rabbi Bashia's findings and methods, seeking to uncover additional hidden messages within that text. It wasn't until the technological revolution in the latter part of the 20th century, especially with the introduction of computers, that these codes could be examined more deeply and rapidly. This new technology enabled the development of more advanced techniques for decoding this Bible code. One of these methods involves creating a matrix, a grid-like structure that arranges the text in a particular format. By arranging the letters in different orientations, researchers believe that they can uncover hidden patterns within the sacred text that may have previously gone unnoticed. And while finding hidden patterns in an ancient text might sound far-fetched, what happened next is difficult to explain away. In the mid-1980s, mathematician Eliyahu Rips, physicist Doran Whitsom and journalist Yoav Rosenberg conducted a project that they called the Great Rabbi's Experiment, using statistical analysis and equidistant letter sequencing to uncover the Bible's secrets. They focused on the names of more than 30 famous rabbis throughout history, and all of whom were born long after the Old Testament was written. By running a computer program, they aimed to determine whether these names could be found within the ancient text using the methods previously mentioned. They were amazed to discover that every single name was located. On top of all that, by using this matrix grid technique, they managed to uncover the birth and death dates of all of these rabbis, and everything matched perfectly with their names. They decided to conduct this experiment once again with 30 additional names, and once more, the program successfully identified each name along with the accurate birth and death dates. What's even more fascinating though, is that when they tried using the classic novel War and Peace to locate the same names, the program only produced a jumble of random letters with no discernible patterns. The trio of researchers shared their results in the peer-reviewed journal Statistical Science. Rips, in particular, firmly expressed his conviction that these codes were authentic and shouldn't be brushed off as mere coincidence. Rips was already diving into the potential hidden information within the Old Testament, particularly focusing on individuals living today and what might be predicted for the future. Once again, he uncovered some astonishing revelations. So, for example, during the first week of January of 1990, he decided to input Saddam Hussein's name into this program to see if it showed up in the Bible. Not only did he actually find Hussein's name, but the code also indicated that he would initiate an attack on Israel within that month, using a Russian missile. Incredibly, just as the Bible code suggested, Hussein ordered a strike on Israel on January 18th of 1990 with a Russian missile. This is where Michael Drosnin comes into play. In 1992, while covering conflicts in Israel, he had the chance to meet Rips. Although he didn't consider himself a religious person, Drosnin was captivated by Rips' work and ended up extending his stay in Israel to explore this further. Drosnin quickly discovered that the Old Testament seemed packed with predictions and scenarios that were surprisingly relevant to contemporary events. One particularly intriguing example that he found was in the book of Genesis, where Abraham is instructed to look now toward heaven and count the stars. Using the program developed by Rips, Drosnin found that the phrases Apollo 11 and spaceship appeared alongside the date July 20th, 1969, the very day of the first moon landing. The duo also stumbled upon the word Oklahoma, connected to Murrah, referencing the building that was destroyed in the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing. They further uncovered the phrase, his name was Timothy, which chillingly corresponded to Timothy McVeigh, the very man who was convicted and then executed for that attack. They also discovered information about the Shoemaker-Levy comet, which impacted Jupiter back in July of 1994. The code not only included the name of the comet, but also contained the phrase, will pound Jupiter. along with the exact date of the collision, July 16th of 1994, when the comet actually struck the gas giant. While conducting these investigations, Drosnin found the name of Israel's Prime Minister at the time, Yitzhak Rabin, along with the phrase "assassin will assassinate." Drosnin, aware of the gravity of this discovery, he tried to warn Rabin about all this. His concerns went beyond just trying to prevent a possible assassination. He also noticed the numbers 57 to 56 appearing in the code. In Hebrew, numbers can have symbolic meanings, and some researchers interpret this combination as "you can" or "will you change this?" For Drosnin, this hinted that future events aren't set in stone and could potentially be changed. Unfortunately, despite all of his efforts to warn him, Rabin was assassinated the following year. However, this was not the end of Drosnin's quest, as he continued to uncover apparent warnings of future events and sought to prevent them from happening.
My book does not make predictions. The Bible code is not a crystal ball. However, since it has been so extraordinarily accurate about events up until now, I think we would be foolish to ignore what it appears to say about tomorrow. The only defense... And this is something Dr. Rips found when he was at Columbia. I remember working with him there on this. His name is Timothy McVeigh. Day 19, on the 9th hour, in the morning, he ambushed, he pounced, terror.
In January 1996, Drosnin used this Bible code once more to identify the word Libya, and was alarmed to find that it was associated with the phrase atomic holocaust. Even more unsettling was the fact that the predicted date for this event was only 24 hours away, on January 27th of 1996 to be exact. Despite their attempts to warn various authorities, it seemed that they were not taken seriously. Well, at least not officially. As the date drew near, Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi took to television to give a speech. In his address, he declared that Arab nations had the right to possess nuclear weapons, especially those feeling threatened by Israel. While his speech didn't lead to a nuclear conflict, thank God, it was significant that Gaddafi made these comments on the precise date that the Bible code had predicted an atomic holocaust. This made Drosnin speculate whether the authorities might have taken his warnings more seriously than he initially believed, and possibly reached a secret agreement with Gaddafi. Although this hasn't been officially confirmed, it's widely thought that after the prediction of Rabin's assassination, Israeli officials were less dismissive of the Bible code than they publicly would acknowledge. As more and more supposed predictions turned out to be accurate, a growing number of people began to consider the possibility that the Bible code could actually be genuine. One of the most fascinating and chilling predictions linked to the Bible code was the death of Princess Diana in a car crash in Paris in August of 1997. The Bible code not only pinpointed the date and location, but also specified that the accident would happen in a tunnel near the River Seine. Furthermore, it seemed to identify the other individuals in the car, including Dodi Al-Fayed and Henry Paul. The Bible code also appeared to foresee the September 11th attacks back in 2001, the downfall of Saddam Hussein's regime, and the manhunt and eventual capture of Osama bin Laden. However, not all of the predictions came to pass, which led skeptics to increasingly challenge its accuracy and authenticity. Despite all this though, Drosnin remained convinced of the Bible code's legitimacy and continued to search for supporting evidence. Drosnin asserted that he had learned about a stone pillar in Jordan, close to the Red Sea, which allegedly featured inscriptions related to this Bible code. These inscriptions were said to contain encoded predictions and messages about future events. At first, Drosnin received permission to excavate this site, creating a buzz amongst supporters of the Bible code theory and those eager to substantiate all of its claims. However, the situation took a sudden turn when permission for this excavation was unexpectedly revoked. The reasons for this decision are still a matter of speculation and controversy. Some attribute this to political or religious pressure, while others point to concerns about potential damage to archaeological sites or skepticism regarding the credibility of the Bible code theory itself. Regardless of these circumstances, if this pillar exists, it remains buried and undiscovered. With Michael Drosnin's passing in 2020, any future exploration of the pillar would depend on someone else taking up this work. In the end, Drosnin was absolutely convinced that there was some sort of intelligence behind the Bible, embedding information that would only come to light in our modern times, particularly with the aid of today's computers. He suggested that since we need advanced computers to crack all the code, it stands to reason that equally sophisticated technology must have been used to encode it originally. Drosnin hinted that this intelligence might come from extraterrestrial beings, possibly even from a different time. He put forward this idea that the Bible code uses advanced algorithms to analyse and forecast various possible futures for humanity. Drosnin believed firmly that if we could completely decode it, it might allow us to steer clear of or even prevent potential disasters ahead. Unsurprisingly, Drosnin's theories were met with a fair amount of criticism. Dr. Rips, the one who first presented the Bible code to Drosnin, later voiced doubts about Drosnin's interpretations. He suggested that Drosnin might have been more focused on what he hoped to find rather than an objective reality. Additionally, Rips himself came under fire for his initial research on the Bible code. Brendan Mackay, a computer science professor at the Australian National University, criticised Rips for being too lenient in his interpretations. Mackay contended that Rips employed initials or nicknames to pinpoint individuals in the Bible code, a technique he showed could reveal names in any arbitrary text, including the novel Moby Dick. So, what should we think of all this? Is there actually hidden information about historical events in the Old Testament? Could there be predictions about future occurrences just waiting to be uncovered? Or are these claims of messages and prophecies simply just a case of researchers projecting their desires onto a text, a phenomenon that could probably happen with just about any written work? The discovery of the Bible code has definitely generated interest in using codes and patterns in texts for predictive purposes. Although the debate over the Bible code's validity does still continue, its core concepts have inspired the creation of predictive models in areas like finance and data analysis. Researchers and mathematicians have looked into using similar coding methods on other texts to reveal hidden patterns and messages that could be predictive. This exploration has driven progress in computational linguistics and led to the development of algorithms specifically designed to analyse large amounts of text for potential hidden meanings. More than that though, the examination of the Bible code has sparked a wider conversation about the significance of patterns and codes in grasping complex systems. It has called traditional ideas about causality and randomness into question, proposing that concealed patterns might be present in many areas of life and nature. Although the Bible code might not offer concrete evidence of future events, its investigation has paved the way for new research and inquiry. It has encouraged scholars and scientists to think outside the box and consider unconventional approaches to understanding the world around us. Whether the Bible code is divine prophecy, the work of an advanced intelligence, or just simply an elaborate coincidence, one thing remains clear. It has never changed how we look at one of history's most influential texts. The code's predictions, some chillingly accurate, others frustratingly vague, continue to perplex experts and spark debate among believers and skeptics across the globe. As we wait to see if this mysterious stone pillar near the Red Sea will ever be uncovered, perhaps the real significance of the Bible code lies not in its ability to predict the future, but in its power to make us question the past. After all, in a universe of endless possibilities, sometimes the simplest explanation is always the most profound, that there are still some mysteries in this world that remain beyond our understanding. At least for now. Hey, listen folks, thanks so much for watching. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Stay safe out there please, tell someone that you love them, and remember, no matter what, keep smiling.